Bulls, it was time for Mirotic to take on a bigger role. Until a teammate literally broke his face. During a preseason practice, Mirotic and Bobby Portis got into it. Reports say
Bobby Portis.
Mirotic lunged at Portis twice, and Portis responded with a single punch that gave Mirotic a concussion and broke multiple bones in his face. He missed 23 games, nearly a third of the season. The Bulls suspended Portis for just 8 games, and when Mirotic demanded they chose between them, the Bulls sided with Bobby Portis.
Did this dummy just
Mirotic demanded
tell Jewish billionaires and white billionaires and probably a couple black billionaires and Adam Silver to pick a side? What the hell? What the hell?
The NBA left him as the best long-term stars who silently slipped out of the NBA.
Okay, thank you to everybody for tuning in today. Today we'll be watching the NBA stars that's vanished. Alright, Blake Griffin, number 1.
Now, nothing about Blake Griffin's game screamed longevity. He was jumping over
allegedly, not even allegedly, because he had great star potential. Not even great star, because obviously he was a star. But Blake Griffin was supposed to be the closest thing
BG was a legitimate
to LeBron, and not in skill wise. I mean, yeah, he could shoot, right?
Yeah, LeBron can't shoot that well either. In the twilight of his career. Of course, when we remember Blake Griffin, the first thing we're always going to think back at is the high-flying dunks and the inward gravity of his pick-and-roll duo with Chris Paul. And sadly, how kind of disappointing that was. But nonetheless, from a nerd's perspective, Blake Griffin's game is pretty fascinating to break down. Throughout the earlier years of his career, Blake Griffin was an absolute star, earning an All-Star selection in the first 5 years, with the main criticism of his game revolving around the way he...
I was just saying yesterday that Blake Griffin needs to post up more. I think he settles way too much and tries to play like a wing. If he plays...
He settled. Blake could dunk on the best defenders in the NBA.
Blake could dunk on anybody.
NBA left him as the best lob target and roll man in the entire league.
Damn, that's his old teammate?
Left him as the best lob target and roll man in the entire...
Is that DeAndre Jordan?
League. But similar to Dwight, Blake wasn't taking enough shots where he excelled, or so he thought. He was an inefficient shooter, an unaggressive scorer, and a poor post player throughout his early years. Where though at times his play was ugly, he improved greatly through trying to expand on his weaknesses. Blake was probably at his best in around 2014, where he was top 3 in MVP voting, and throughout stretches without Chris Paul was able to carry this Clippers squad. Although his post-game was super ugly,
who is the better passing power forward, Blake Griffin or Draymond Green? Oh damn, Draymond Green.
Really effective, and with his gravity going downhill and his respectable skill with his back to the basket, he really opened up the floor where he was silently one of the best passing bigs that the game has ever seen.
I mean, then again, you can't even say that because, wait, who is a better passing power forward? Okay, that's a different segment. Now, when you say shit like the number of assists, bro, this guy right here is playing with Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is the best shooter in the world after me. So, what do you expect? The fuck?
Like I said, Blake came out hot, as you probably remember. He was dunking on guys, he was all fun and flashy.
You know what argument I've seen recently on Twitter? They said, who is better, Chris Paul or Rajon Rondo? I think Rajon Rondo, because and it's funny because everybody was saying, oh, see, because Rajon has a ring and shit like that, and I'm so sorry. I know you can't hear this, but honestly, he's not really saying shit. About Blake Griffin. We all know Blake Griffin. The nigga was a fucking putback king, dunking on everybody, and that's it. And the dunk contest, so back to what I was saying, like Rajon Rondo, I think he's better. He had the whole hood doing this shit. The whole hood was doing this. They're running to the paint, doing this little fake behind the back layup. The whole hood. CP3, he's definitely not more influential than Rondo. That's for sure. That's my opinion. And what else? Yeah, like I don't know, man. Rondo was averaging like 10 points, 20 assists. 10 rebounds, like what the fuck?
But after losing his greatest attribute and his leading ability, BG silently put together his best year in the NBA.
Are we still talking about this nigga? Who the fuck is next?
To a 1-year window. As he bounced to the Nets, then to the Celtics, the injuries had hit him with a knockout blow he couldn't get up from, and put the nail in the coffin of his career. But from a Hall of Fame level peak to a resurgence comparable to very few, Blake Griffin gave us a show to watch for quite a while. In 2020, Montrezl Harrell was your sixth man of the year.
Is Blake Griffin still in the league?
In 2021, Montrezl Harrell was putting up a fraction of his 2020 totals. And in 2024, he was out of the NBA altogether. This is one that over the years I've had some struggles to exactly pinpoint the issue on, but stick with me if you will, and let me know in the comments on your opinion, because I'm interested what some of you who may have watched more closely might think. Now, the story of Montrezl Harrell's downfall, in my opinion, comes down to one main thing. In the NBA, there are system players and system makers. You have your...
What he means is, in the NBA, there are people who are puppets and have to follow the script, and people who aren't.
Jokic's, you have your Morants, your LeBrons, Lukas, the guys that basically have a gravitational pull that every team they will ever play on will revolve around, and every player that plays with them will aim to complement them. Now, this is a rather basic concept. You got stars and role players, but basketball is as complicated of a...
Wait. Why aren't I hearing the sound of my headphones? Oh my gosh. You stupid. Hold on, I gotta see. Oh my god, where is it? I think this is it. This is it, no?
Sport as you want it to be.
Oh my god.
When it comes to the PG and Kawhi Clippers, their system was significantly different from those of the guys previously mentioned, as with usage spread around a bit, they weren't relying on individual playmakers as much to create for others. Rather, this was just a deep squad of bucket getters that can lean on each other when one guy was off or one guy was hot. On paper, it was a closer system to, say, the MJ Pippen Bulls than it would be the Steve Nash Suns.
Kawhi didn't vanish. Kawhi just dropped like 31 yesterday, nigga.
James Harden Rockets.
James Harden vanished. Where the fuck is Harden?
The reason I'm explaining this to you is to explain my theory on why Montrezl Harrell was able to excel in the Clippers system. In the world of system players and system makers, Montrezl Harrell was very obviously a system player, but as an undersized big who couldn't shoot or defend, his player build was in no way the meta of the NBA. But in a Clippers system...
undersized big, okay, so then make him go power forward. He's too small, okay, then make him go small forward. Fuck, you mean undersized big? Now we have niggas who aren't too tall or too
that had the best wing defenders in the game, a good point of attack defender in Patrick Beverly, and valued shot creation over playmaking. The Clippers were looking for guys who could scrape together buckets rather than penetrate, distribute, and shoot while their defense did the rest. With a hustle-based game, Montrez could push in transition, take advantage of lazy defenses, roll hard, crash the offensive glass, and do little things to put together 18 points a game without the coaching staff having to write him up a single play. It was a rather unique element that Montrezl Harrell could add to the game, which he was ultimately rewarded for with the Sixth Man of the Year award. But as exposed by guys like Kenneth Faried before him, it was
I was da-da-da-da-da, but now I've been da-da-da-da.
a rather inefficient way to play the game. With his career at a high points, Harrell would jump ship to the other LA team, signing with the Lakers after their championship win. In a microscope, the move seemed to be a win. Harrell was, of course, a major Energizer bunny for the Clips for a few years, and having lost...
did he win the championship with Lakers in the bubble?
Use just that. But this is where Harrell's career would begin to fall apart. Harrell's stats would take a significant decline down to 13 points per game because his talents could not be utilized in the same way. Like I said before, there are system makers and system players, and within the Lakers, LeBron was Mr. High Usage with P&R partner and Anthony Davis helping create advantages for him to attack on with his inward gravity. Now, in a nutshell, this is the way the Lakers' offense would operate most efficiently. And with a very meta NBA offense compared to the Clips, they have since been trying to stack their squad with additional playmakers and 3-and-D style role players, really similar to about 90% of teams in the NBA.
LeBron has better vision than me? LeBron, let me find out you could have been a point guard next to Steph Curry in the all-time shooting list. Let me find out. I mean, I'm not on the all-time passing. I don't really know what the X button is, to be honest with you. Yo, how long is this fucking night? I think I care about this fucking baby. God damn, I can't skip shit. Aura rings. These are fake.
This is where things get murky.
Ooh, crossover.
Sharing the block with AD, Montrezl Harrell was the best player on the team when comparing individual talent to individual talent. But given that to operate the offense most efficiently, you need to give AD room to operate. Playing less talented lineups with better fit players like Markieff Morris and Marc Gasol gave the Lakers a more cohesive unit. This, in a nutshell, was the death of Montrezl Harrell. As a role player, when not in a role, he can excel.
So basically, his team was too good, and he couldn't keep up. Like he's Sakura in Naruto terms.
And he quickly drowned. And as role players who can only fit a very specific role that not many teams.
Okay, so long story short, he is who's this?
Defenders at his position, the best rebounder since Dennis Rodman, and a guy with a pretty high ceiling all around, I guess. But as of late, people have come to really question this guy's career altogether. First things first, since departing from the Pistons, this guy has been a career journeyman. He's been on a bunch of
he's only 28 years old?
Teams that haven't stuck. He peaked statistically at like 25 years old, and he went on to say he was the best rebounder of all time, which kind of ticked people off.
What are you talking
now, if he wants to say he was the best rebounder of all time, I don't
He's not
really
even better rebounder than Carmelo Anthony.
give two shits. He's probably like top 3. Maybe he's not. Who cares, really? But Andre Drummond as a player has always intrigued me. Now, back since we first saw him, to be honest with you guys, I've always kind of despised Andre Drummond's game. I never was bought into him as an all-star level player.
Damn.
I hated this guy's attitude, and I thought this guy was an overrated defender because of his rebounding. Well, defense is more valuable than rebounding, if that makes sense. Now, recently, Andre Drummond has come out and kind of validated this stance when speaking to a bunch of kids regarding his own downfall.
You know, I understand where you guys are
I think I
and
see
what's
this.
going on. I know a lot of it is new. Some of you guys are coming from respected teams where you're the man, you're that guy on your team, and you know you play 100 minutes, you score 1,000 points, X, Y, and Z. This is not what this is, fellas. And the sooner you guys realize is the better. But to be pouting on the bench, making faces, not cheering your teammates on when we're down 8 the entire game, come back and go up by 3, and you're not celebrating that, I'm gonna tell you something. Fellas, I was that guy. I was a $100 million guy. I was pouting. I was upset when I wasn't playing. And I had a bad attitude. I went from $100 million to a league minimum. It's a personal story I'm sharing with you guys right now. They don't care how many rebounds you get, how many threes you make. They care about you being as a person. Are you a good teammate? Are you a good locker room guy? Are you someone they can count on each and every night? I talked about consistency. You play 100% every single time you step on that floor. Consistency, fellas. Consistency.
Now, this is
He went from 100 million to a regular paycheck guy. And now he's coaching high schoolers?
pretty interesting. Most of us remember Drummond's prime that included 2 All-Star selections.
How old is he? Didn't
as
they
well.
say he's like 28? Why is he out so early? Oh, Dennis Schumer, this
Foolishness
guy.
proved to be a career killer. It in a way tarnished everything he was able to accomplish and killed his future in the process. Now, Kendrick Nunn was a guy who came from nowhere, and by the looks of things was going to be around for the long haul. After going
Who the fuck is
undrafted and
Kendrick
getting his
Nunn?
chance on the finals run underdog 2020 Heat, Kendrick Nunn was certainly one of the bright spots of the season, finishing
his stats?
second in Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, the guy was 24 and closer to his ceiling than pretty much every rookie, of course, but at 15 points per game in his first
Damn, he's 24 and a rookie. Rookie these years are literally 17, 18. Isn't Bronny 17 or 18 now? Well, I swear he got drafted when he was 17.
year of NBA basketball,
G League.
that's a lot better than a lot of players at their peak that etched out long careers in the NBA. Fast forward just a few years later, and Kendrick Nunn is out of the league entirely. It's unfortunate for sure, given that this was one of the feel-good stories of that season, but given the context and his unfortunate circumstances, it's not exactly surprising. Now, what exactly was going on in Miami that year? Well, really, when it came to scoring the ball, there was kind of some shots to go around. With Tyler Hero still in diapers, and the Heat stars and Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Buckets being very solid facilitators of their position, the shot creation ability of Kendrick Nunn was put to great use here. At 44 and 35% shooting splits, he wasn't necessarily the most efficient, but he was given a great opportunity to play in a great system that maximized his ability under coach Eric Spoelstra, who at this point really should be looked at amongst some of the best to ever do it. It was a special year that earned him recognition. Of course, second place in Rookie of the Year voting is quite the achievement, especially
Where
for
is he?
undrafted
I'm not seeing
talents.
no
But come
fucking
playoff
highlights from
time, Spo struggled to find the same magic with
Like, show
Nunn,
me some Rookie of the
cutting
Year
his minutes in
plays.
half and deferring to more experienced talent like Goran Dragic to get the job done. And for
they cut
this
his
squad to
hours?
make it to the finals with this talent, you really couldn't argue with the decision. It's tough to watch your team excel with a limited role comparative to what you're used to, I'm sure, but come the next season, Kendrick Nunn looked even better. At a slightly reduced 14.6 a game,
Left-handed?
Nunn was scoring on elite efficiency up near 50, 40, 90. I mean, there's a ton of really solid shot creators on the market, and although it's more than likely that Nunn's talents
Yeah,
were
get off
slightly
me.
inflated
What?
given the system he was playing in, Nunn had a very impressive skill set that a bench unit near him would likely love to get their hands on. And that's exactly what happened when the Lakers snatched him up the following season.
Oh my gosh, the Laker curse. I was really trying to figure out what could have possibly happened to this guy for him to get Rookie of the Year and then next season play better. And then boom, Lakers. Lakers have a curse. I don't know what it is, but ever since LeBron came to the Lakers and he did that scripted ass bubble shit,
it's not before
hopefully the Laker curse is gone because Luka Buka is on that team and I love Luka Buka.
Injury would ruin all the momentum that he was building.
Let's see what
After a
happens.
failed stint with LA and a run that
And this is when Westbrook was there. Jesus, this was a bad year. Wait. Is Darvin Ham here? Salute.
mostly consisted of garbage time minutes with the Wizards,
Don't
it
tell me-
appeared that post the arrow to the knee, he had difficulty getting to spots and creating space effectively, matched with the mental exhaustion that comes with not being what you once were. For lack of a better word, at 27 years old, Kendrick Nunn was unfortunately washed and out of the NBA. To give you a bit of a happy ending, after taking his career overseas, it looks like Nunn may have found the perfect fit for his talents.
My nigga, obviously playing the difficulty is on rookie or pro. He's not playing on Hall of Fame no more. Where the fuck is the skateboard? Why you always hiding from me?
His goal is making it back to an NBA roster or building a career over there, but at 20 points per game on 55% from the field and 40% from deep.
20 points per game in those leagues? I'm not gonna lie to you. You're not making it.
I don't know too much about EuroLeague basketball, but I know enough to know this guy's playing out of his mind. This is a strangely happy ending to an otherwise pretty unfortunate fall, but in the case of Nikola Mirotic, his story is just out of the ordinary all
fuck is
around.
that?
Every year, NBA players head back to Europe after realizing they couldn't cut it in the NBA. Some EuroLeague MVPs have flopped hard, but that isn't the case for Nikola Mirotic. He was in his prime, had a big NBA contract waiting for him with multiple teams not putting down the phone with big-time offers for his big-time talents. Yet still, chose to leave the NBA to go back to Europe. And when he first explained why, he wasn't telling the whole truth. Years later, he finally revealed what happened. He finished second in Rookie of the Year voting in 2015 behind Andrew Wiggins. This guy was a big shooter, scoring double digits his whole career, while being able to create a little bit and score on 3 levels. As D. Rose, Jimmy Butler, and Pau Gasol left the Bulls, it was time for Mirotic to take on a bigger role. Until a teammate literally broke his face. During a preseason practice, Mirotic and Bobby Portis got into it. Reports say
Bobby Portis.
Mirotic lunged at Portis twice, and Portis responded with a single punch that gave Mirotic a concussion and broke multiple bones in his face. He missed 23 games, nearly a third of the season. The Bulls suspended Portis for just 8 games, and when Mirotic demanded they chose between them, the Bulls sided with Bobby Portis.
Did this
Games,
dummy
and when
just
Mirotic demanded
tell Jewish billionaires and white billionaires and probably a couple black billionaires and Adam Silver to pick a side?
chose between
Who
them.
the fuck do you think you are, Benjamin Franklin?
Mirotic was eventually traded to New Orleans, where he thrived, having his best days in the
This nigga told the NBA to pick a side. Like you're making the NBA money. Idiot pick.